One of my greatest, no, my greatest fear is the fear of the unknown. Nothing encapsulates that as much as the ocean, especially the darkness of the bottom where anything may lurk and any moment may be the last. Last Breath is based on the terrifying true story of a diver named Chris, who after a storm breaks his connection to the ship to his oxygen gets stranded at the bottom of the ocean, with dwindling backup reserves to keep him alive, and every moment causing the ship and his hope to drift further and further away. The crew up top do everything they can out of hope that they may save him, but every second that passes makes it more and more unlikely. I went into this film expecting absolutely nothing. Nanny asked me to go and watch it with her, and that's all I really needed to hear. So I am judging this purely based on the film itself and not how accurate it may or may not be to the truth. And the truth is that this film itself is surprisingly good. There are some moments that are absolutely terrifying, stressful, as everyone scrambles to try and do what they can to recover Chris. If not alive, then a body they can bury, and not a memory that they can't. It is immediately established that Chris is a pretty likable dude. He gets along with pretty much everyone on the ship and has a fiance back home that he can't wait to get back to. He's done dives like this before, alongside his best friend and mentor, a man named Duncan. This is their last dive together, and with a hardened pro named Dave joining them, it should have went off without a hitch. Finn Cole plays Chris, a big departure from Michael who he played in Peaky Blinders, to the point that I could barely recognize that he was the same guy. Every moment of joy, of fear, of pain, of sadness, of regret, and of peace are showcased pretty well. The lighting of the dark depths keep things tense, but it also limits the expressiveness that we're able to see. With his body restricted by a suit and his face hidden behind the darkness, the unknown is a double-edged sword in that regard. But with great cinematography and direction, they do a solid job balancing it all out. Just gotta be okay with atmosphere alone selling some of the scenes that would otherwise have been sold with body language in different circumstances. Woody Harrelson plays Duncan, and Simu, I can't remember his last name, my freaking brain said Simu Limu, but I know that's wrong. The guy that plays Shang-Chi plays Dave. They both do a good job, with Simu selling a serious character far better than I expected, and Woody being just as fun as he always is. Actually, if we're being honest, then every actor does pretty well. And in the rescue operation to save Chris, it takes time to showcase how everyone on board of a vessel is important. People take risks, rely on their own skills, even if it means manually overriding things that are usually done automated, putting themselves in danger for the betterment of somebody else. Chris becomes humanized in that regard. He isn't just another diver, he's a member of the crew, something people higher in power seem to forget, but when his life was at risk, didn't fail to acknowledge. Everyone was willing to take steps outside of their comfort zone in hopes that they can save him, but only to a point that was reasonable for their character. It felt natural. Whenever somebody refused to do something risky, they weren't forced to take that risk. Instead, others stepped up who would bear the burden of that responsibility in their stead. It was just as wholesome, as inspiring as it was absolutely frightening. The tick of time felt paced rather well, and with a tight runtime of an hour and a half, it never wasted a single moment of it. This is one of the rare cases where I feel an added 15 minutes could have been beneficial if it was handled correctly. Maybe if they showed Chris doing a successful dive at the beginning, let us know what we have to expect, then when things inevitably go wrong, we could have seen the differences between the two dives, understood the foreshadowing in a more personal way, since we would have the connection of knowing what a dive is supposed to look like, the kind of connection that Chris would have to a dive before getting thrown into one that goes all wrong. Others may feel far differently than I do on this and could want less backstory altogether, but I'm definitely in a camp of wanting to see more. Who's to say where you would be until you watch it yourself, and I implore you to do so. So many people complain time and time again that recent movies are creatively bankrupt, that most movies are reboots, sequels, and prequels of already established properties, and franchises that are chokeholding the very audience that they have had years to amass and eventually fail. Star Wars has churned out shows and films that are a mixed bag on every front, with films that are good like Rogue One, surrounded by turds like The Rise of Skywalker, or shows like Andor releasing at the same time as something like The Acolyte, or The Book of Boba Fett using its limited episodes to give one to The Mandalorian, who has his very own series. Don't even get me started on Star Wars Resistance and how big of a downgrade it was from Star Wars Rebels that came before it. Marvel is having its very own mixed bag of stinkers, with them using their actors' superhero image to push their political opinion without even trying to cover up the fact that they are using the name brand of characters like the Avengers, who are liked by a lot of teens, to do so.
How about we start with what our voting plans are going to be, who we're going to bring to the polls with us, that sort of thing.
I think Kamala Harris needs a catchphrase.
Ooh, yes, definitely a catchphrase.
How about this? I'm just off the top of my head. I can do this all day.
Shut up.
I hate it.
Okay.
I mean, it's original, but...
What about something punchier like,
Ooh, boom. You looking for this?
Iron Man 2, everybody loved it.
Okay, again, I think we're just trying to get out the vote.
Kamala forever. That's better.
Okay, how about I'm down with democracy? It's just clean, it's simple.
Okay, I like that.
It's hard to argue with that.
Kamala Harris down with democracy.
Oh, yeah. I'm Kamala Harris, and I say, down with democracy.
I don't know if that sounds the way we want it to sound, though.
DC, Indiana Jones, Doctor Who, Fast and Furious, Jurassic Park, heck, given the last trailer I saw, looks like Shrek may be added to that list too, but I truly hope that I'm wrong. So many franchises are being milked to the bone, so instead of supporting slop in hopes that the next film might be better, or watching stuff off of name recognition alone, take a chance instead. Take a chance on a film like this one that tells a story that is so realistic that it's frightening. A story with a lot of heart of a real man, a real crew, and a real situation that can make you question the very foundation of your beliefs. It is a movie that came to tell you a story, give you an ending, and let you ponder on it for as long as you decide. Be that hours after it finishes or before the credits have even stopped rolling. It is your decision on how deep you want to look into it, but the movie finishes either way. These are the kinds of movies that you need to support if your goal is to bring about change. Support your theater, support the films willing to tell self-sustained stories, willing to take risks away from the oversaturated genres of today, willing to shed light on the very world that you live in and the amazing things that take place within it, the people that risk their lives for you to live comfortably in your own, those that venture into the depths of the unknown so we don't have to. As we continue to breathe, it may very well be their last breath. For more news, reviews, and whatever we choose, stay tuned to Nerdsfeed. Have a great day. Thank you.